Hello, Phoenix. I'm Stewart Willis, and you're watching the Asset Preservation Hour. Today's show is going to be fantastic. We're going to cover some of those subjects you think you know about, but maybe there's a few things missing. We're going to talk about Social Security, the things you need to know when you file. If you've already filed, what kind of pitfalls are out there? We're also going to talk about the different stages of retirement, what kind of income you need in retirement, and what are the best sources. To talk about these amazing subjects today, I've got my amazing advisors. Of course, Nathan Faldmo, CFP out of Gilbert, Arizona. We got Jeff Stegge from our Scottsdale office, and then my good friend here, Kyle Chapman from Las Vegas. Thanks for joining me, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Do it.
All right, you ready to turn Social Security into something exciting today?
Oh, yes.
We've got to do that. So turn your frown upside down. All right, Social Security. We're hearing tons of stuff in the news right now about Social Security going out of business, that it's going to be defunct. Nathan, are we out of luck here, or is it going to be there for us to file?
I'm a glass half full guy, so you guys could take a different approach to this. I just think something's going to be there. I'm not saying it's going to be the full benefit, right? And who knows what it's going to look like, but something is going to be there because no politician is going to stay in office if this Social Security disappears. Now, having said that, that's what we have to figure out is, well, what happens if it starts to get reduced? Where are you going to pull income from, or what are your sources that you're going to actually have access to if you don't have your full benefit? I think we definitely have to look at that scenario.
Yeah, well, Jeff, I think, we've seen these statistics thrown around. I think right now the budget office is saying that by 2032, Social Security will be defunct. Now, there will be the other counter argument that, hey, there is no Social Security trust fund anymore, that it's already defunct. But 2032 is the date we're hearing, and if we hit that date at current pace, it looks like we're going to see about a 25% reduction in our current benefit. So you think they're going to save it?
You got to assume that they're going to make some adjustments last minute to save this. And I mean, it's such a critical income source for so many retirees that it would be pretty catastrophic, I think, to people that are already retired, not going back to work. I think as younger people, they shouldn't be focusing on Social Security to be their full source of income in retirement. I think you've got to plan for those other different sources, whether it's putting money into your IRA, your 401ks, but what are we doing outside of what's going to be there for us for Social Security?
Yeah. Okay, for the younger folks.
Yeah.
But for those that are relying on it, that are a few years away from retirement, Kyle, or already in retirement, it can be kind of scary here saying that Social Security is going to be reduced by 25%. And just to be clear, that is not just for the future filers. That's for people that have already filed as well.
Right, yeah. I mean, you got to have a plan because there's just no way around it. I mean, you got to find the income somewhere. I think the stats are somewhere between 30 and 40 workers versus the actual people paying Social Security. So that number is just getting worse.
So, because when Social Security was originally created, people weren't living as long, right? I think the statistic, Kyle, is that people were actuarially dead by the time they filed for Social Security back when Franklin Roosevelt created the New Deal, right? But now we're living longer, thank goodness, but that comes at a price, doesn't it?
Yep. So long-term care needs come into play. I mean, there's just a lot that needs to be done.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they're gonna do something. They have to, or you'd think there'd be a revolt or something at this point.
Revolution.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think there's already somewhat of a revolution here, as obviously part of the Democrat Party is turning very far left. We're also seeing very far right extremes on the Republican side. But I would say this, what really concerns me, Nathan, is and what really scares me is when Lindsey Graham and Bernie Sanders agree on the same thing, right? Yeah. Now, I don't know if that should be scary or if that should be, hey, we're in a good spot. But they agree that Social Security obviously needs to be saved. But in order to do so, they believe that higher income folks don't need Social Security as much. Now, understand, to me, that's code language for saying we are going to tax the people that have saved money for retirement compared to those who haven't.
Yeah, there's this debate among a lot of people in our industry and even in DC. It's, are you taxing who's wealthy first off, and how do you define that? But also, how is wealth defined versus income, which is what you just referenced, versus an asset. There's people that have been saving and putting into 401ks and have all these assets, and their income may be lower for a period of time, but at some point you're going to have these RMDs and other things kick in, and now all of a sudden your income is going to go up naturally because you have these high assets.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's dive deeper into where you just went with this conversation, because I think when we talk about assets versus income, for 6 years now on the Asset Preservation Hour, we've been talking about the fact that it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep, right? It's not about what you have, it's about what you keep. And we've been talking about tax planning. Well, a lot of people don't understand that Social Security was never intended to be taxable, but it became taxable for the first time in 1983. Believe it or not, it was Ronald Reagan that signed into law the first time, allowing for it to be up to 50% taxable. And then the other party, the Republicans and the Democrats, made it more taxable. Bill Clinton made it more taxable, up to 85% taxable. And I think, Jeff, a lot of people don't think through the taxability of Social Security, which is why, it's important to have an income plan that includes Social Security going into retirement.
Yeah, in the right places where you're taking that additional income from, right? You've got Social Security income. Nathan mentioned the RMDs, investment income, interest, dividends. Actually makes me think of a client that I just dealt with who she's retired, looking at her income sources. So she's got her IRA, she's got a nice Roth IRA as well, but she's got her Social Security. She needs additional income. And the plan that she got was to turn on income stream from her full IRA. Now, $1 million IRA. She came to me as a second opinion. We went through the conversation of where her income comes from, where her tax liability is going to fall. I switched it completely. She was in a 22% bracket from here on out, if brackets hold, right? We took money, we set a plan together for her, money from her IRA, money from her Roth IRA. We've got
a combination.
A combination, 100%. So we've got that down to a 12% tax bracket that she should stay in from here on out. That's a 10% tax savings. Just the strategy of taking it from the right place. What assets you do have, taking it from the right place is a huge factor in what you're looking at for income down the road.
Well, listen, as a financial planner, Kyle, I know that you've seen a lot of different things in Las Vegas than we see here in Phoenix. Obviously, I think people are probably more tax sensitive in Las Vegas, right? I mean, listen, I'm from California. I still have my 858 area code on my cell phone, pretending I'm from San Diego still. I'm a California beach boy at heart. And these summers aren't making it any easier to stay here. But people move to Arizona because of the low taxes. They move to Las Vegas because of the no income taxes on state income tax. What are you seeing differently when it comes to Social Security tax? Are people concerned? Are they aware that it even exists before they come and see you?
Oh, it comes up often.
Yeah.
Some people will come in and their Social Security isn't taxed at all. I always say you want to be asset rich and income poor, okay? Just because you can control your tax rates a lot more when you're dealing with assets versus, some of these pensions and irrevocable income that you correct, the forced income that forces your Social Security to be taxed. But if you have assets that you can sell to cash, you can kind of control whether that Social Security is even taxed.
Okay, so looking at that, Nathan, when we're looking at creating a plan, and I think most people dramatically underestimate what Social Security even means to their retirement. I think people take it for granted, right? They say, okay, I'm 62, I'm going to file as early as possible. It's going broke anyway, so let's just take it while we can. And they just file as early as possible, which I think can be a huge mistake if they don't plan it out. What are your thoughts?
So there's so many different scenarios, where it gets difficult is everyone's situation is going to be different. Mm-hmm. There's some people out there, you're married, maybe you're the lower incoming spouse, or income spouse.
Incoming spouse?
Maybe you're the outgoing or income, I don't know, but that was another topic for another show. But on the lower income spouse, you may want to file sooner because you will get probably a raise if you get half of your higher income earning spouse later when your spouse files. So and that's the income that you're going to keep forever is the higher Social Security amount. So there are some situations where you just want to be aware of. You may want to take some income now because you're going to spend more. Maybe you're going to travel when you retire and you want to have some of that extra cash flow. But you also have to be aware that that could also hurt you later on when you do get your spouse files.
I think people drastically underestimate how much Social Security means to the retirement.
It could be over $1 million.
Well, see, that's what we see. I think we've looked at the statistics here. For a married couple, if they live to 85, we're talking about on average between $1 million and $1.5 million for our clients if they make proper decisions, right? So people will come to our office. They'll call our number to want to talk about their investments. But the first thing we want to talk about at the office is Social Security, right? And people are like, well, you don't make money planning Social Security. That's right. But it's part of an important plan for you. It's not something you should take for granted. Look, is Bernie Sanders going to, and Lindsey Graham, are they going to get their way? Well, their way is to tax the wealthy on higher income, right? That's people that have IRAs, 401ks, etc. Remember this, a Roth is invisible to Social Security tax. But what I don't want to understate here is the importance of Social Security to your plan. It is a huge part. Maybe you've done your job. You've saved $500,000. You've saved $1 million, $2 million, $3 million for retirement. What about that $1 million of Social Security? That needs to be part of your income plan as well. And it matters when you file. Maybe one should file early, one should file late. Everybody's situation is different, like Nathan says. If you want to have the perfect financial plan that includes a Social Security plan, even if you've already filed your Social Security, how do you maximize that? Well, it's through proper tax planning, proper income planning through your retirement. If you want to get a second opinion on how to optimize your Social Security, we're going to give that to you absolutely free. But you have to take action. We'll meet you in any of our convenient offices here in the greater Phoenix area, whether it's Goodyear or Peoria, Scottsdale, Tempe, Gilbert. We're all around here. This office here that we're filming our TV show, and come see us in our Tempe office. But you have to take action. Give us a call, 833-602-PLAN. Once again, 833-602-PLAN to claim your absolutely free Social Security and portfolio review. Even easier, pick up your phone, click on the QR code. That'll take you to assetpreservation.com where you can claim your free review. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to talk about the different income sources that you should take at different stages of retirement. We'll see you in just a minute.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the fourth worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Stewart Willis with Asset Preservation Wealth and Tax. If you have amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. We are in one of the greatest tax windows in history, so it makes sense to take advantage of this tax discount while you can with your partners in retirement. All of our expert advisors, CPAs, and enrolled agents are fiduciaries that specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and more. Plan your retirement right. Call right now for your own complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis.
As you've heard, most retirees drastically underestimate the magnitude of Social Security. They have no idea when the best time is for them to file. Your choices can dramatically change the outcome of how much you collect over a lifetime. Claim your absolutely free Social Security Optimization Report. Just click the QR code or call the number on your screen and meet with an Asset Preservation Wealth Advisor in one of our convenient locations around Phoenix.
Hey Phoenix, welcome back to the Asset Preservation Hour. I'm Stewart Willis, and we're going to continue the conversation now on income sources in retirement, because what a lot of people don't think through is that there are different stages of retirement, right? The first stage is what we call the accumulation phase. And Nathan, that accumulation phase, how do you define that?
Well, it's when you're accumulating assets, right? It's like you're working.
Was that a softball I just threw you here? And you're like,
I'm not sure how to answer this.
What's the catch?
Well, for those of you who don't know what accumulation, the idea is we all start off in a phase. Well, most of us, and if you have a trust fund, I don't know, but you start off in a phase where you're actually starting to build your assets. You might have some debt, other things, and so you're not putting as much in your 401k. But at some point, you really start to build that accumulation phase. And then it gets so big to where then you're entering, as you get closer to retirement, now you're in a preservation stage. It doesn't always have to start in retirement necessarily, but it does reach that point to where now you're like, hey, look, I've won the race, and now I just want to make sure that I'm going to keep this going, and that's what we call the preservation phase. And of course, that leads us to then the part of where you actually want to enjoy your money and spend your money, and that's the decumulation phase.
Okay, so let's talk about each of these different stages here, Jeff. The accumulation phase. Obviously, you're still working. You've got years of work to go. You can take more risk, and generally, it shows in your portfolio. Is it the right phase to be in? Is the assets that you have in your accumulation phase, is that the same as you have in your decumulation phase?
I think it's just as important. I think decumulation phase is sometimes the biggest overlooked position, right? When you're accumulating your assets, we want to look at a number of things. We want to look at what is an ordinary income tax bucket. What's the non-taxable bucket like your Roth IRA? What's a capital gains bucket? What are you going to be taxed at capital gains rates? So when you're accumulating your assets, we want to strategize with that because it comes back to when you're starting to pull income out in retirement. Where do those assets come from? What bucket? In other words, we're going to have our Social Security turned on, pension, and what other income, RMDs, but then we want to supplement that. So what's the right strategy? What's the right bucket of income to take from? Is it fully taxable? Is it tax-free? Is it capital gains rates, which could be lower than where you're at in retirement? We just don't know, but we want to have those set up.
But what about vehicles, Kyle? Yeah. Let's talk about vehicles. Should your accumulation phase look the same as your decumulation phase? Meaning, are you just as aggressive in your decumulation phase generally as you are when you're trying to grow it?
Depends on the person, but for the most part, you'd want to be, a lot more conservative by the time we're getting to the decumulation phase, of course. As Nate mentioned, you don't want to lose the race after you've already won the race, kind of deal. So in the accumulation phase, that's when we're focusing more on growth stocks and more equity-driven investments. And then when we get to the decumulation phase, that's where we need to usually shift towards more income-driven type of investments.
Yeah. Okay.
Leveling out that volatility.
Yeah. So I think, look. I think a lot of us have this fear of missing out, right? I mean, we have seen an amazing stock market. And listen, I like to joke and say I'm a man of leisure and I like to, live an easy life. I mean, people who know me know that I am a workaholic. So that doesn't really work in the way that I, describe it. Although I do have a Greece trip coming up and I will be a man of leisure there. It's going to be amazing. I was going to describe the bathing suit I was going to wear, but it just is not appropriate for TV here. I'll lose the audience there. So, but in this, when we talk about these underlying investments, Nathan here, the decumulation phase, and look, some people do want to keep it in, right? They like their Nvidia, they like their, their Netflix, their Google, their Facebook. They want to be full throttle in the market. Yeah. But to me, that poses a serious risk when it comes to the decumulation phase for most people. Not all people, most people. Everybody knows you're supposed to buy low and sell high. But what happens when the market pulls back and now you're dependent? You see a 30 or 40% pullback in the market. Now you don't have a job anymore. You're now depending on these assets. I think people can freak out and make bad decisions.
Well, now it becomes very emotional. There's a math equation to this too, which actually let me say that first. If your portfolio's down 30% and you have to take money out because you're no longer working, you need money to come in, now you have less money. And again, I know this might sound simple, but the math shows you that you're here and you take money out where the market's down, now you have less. So when it recovers, you don't have as much to recover and it hurts your portfolio in that situation.
So you're saying your income needs don't stop when the market's down?
Most people's don't, no. And usually when you're in this situation, you actually you're retired or maybe newly retired and you want to keep going and living your life and you may want to spend more, you may want to travel more. And now you're in a situation to where are you pulling this money from? And of course, like you said, buy low, sell high. So if the market's down, we want to prevent this situation where you're having to take money out while the market's low. That's out of your control. So you don't want to have to wait for the market to come back to spend and take your trip to Greece.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, I mean, honestly, this trip to Greece I've been planning now for weeks is going to be a trip of a lifetime.
Rough life.
But yeah, I know. Listen, hey man, hey, listen, I'm working hard. And no kids on this one for it's the first trip without any of the kids. I'm an empty nester. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important to understand that it's not about me and my trip to Greece or my little swimsuit I'm going to wear. Don't make it weird. It's about having a plan, right? It's about. I just made it weird. So what am I going to do here? No, listen. I think it's important to have a plan, and I think it's important to have an understanding that we all define what success is differently. And I was just watching this amazing television show. I don't know if any of you have watched it. It's called The Madison. Kirk Douglas was in that, right? It was Michael Douglas. I don't know, one of the Douglases, and Michelle Pfeiffer. And it was this interesting, opening sequence on the first episode, where this man is sitting there, and he's very successful, and they're at some place in the Bahamas, 5-star resort, and they're looking around, and all of these people are 85, 90 years old, and just kind of struggling to walk, not really able to do it, but they're just checking off things on the bucket list, right? Rather than, creating memories, they're just checking off things in the bucket list. And I think sometimes everyone wants different things out of life, right? What I want to do is I don't want to have dreams. I want to have memories, right? I want to be able to say I did this thing. And what I see universally is that oftentimes people pin themselves in the corner financially where they've created these big tax time bombs in retirement, or they don't know where to pull money out because they have these huge capital gains on their stocks. And so they die with all this money, never getting to do these dream trips. If you want to be in a position where you can just squeeze the nectar out of life and be able to really enjoy your retirement, that takes a plan. If you're feeling lost, you don't know how to unwind that tax time bomb, you want to find out how to live in this decumulation stage in the best way possible, we're offering you an absolutely free, no-catch second opinion. But you have to take action. We're available in any of our offices here in Phoenix, whether it's Goodyear, Peoria, or Scottsdale, Tempe, or Gilbert, right? You can see good old Nathan and Gilbert there. We're available, but you have to ask for help. Pick up your phone right now. Don't wait till tomorrow. People make New Year's resolutions and they act in January. And now, middle of the year, people tend to say, hey, I'll take care of that later. I'll do it later. Act today. If you want to have a plan, act today. We're here to help. All you have to do is call 833-602-PLAN, or even easier, pick up the phone, click on the QR code. That'll take you to assetpreservation.com, where you can claim your free review. When we come back, we're going to talk about specific investments that you should consider for your income stream going into retirement. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If only we'd taken charge, we really could have been living large.
But in 2025, we missed the boat. Now we can barely stay afloat. 2025 was a year to score. The greatest tax break in American lore. The window was open.
We knew it wouldn't last.
We told them to act real fast.
Remember the Joneses, those sneaky devils. They seized the tax moment at whole new levels.
And what about those pesky Smiths? Well, they're off on golden sand. But here we are with a staycation planned. They said, invest, retire like kings. But instead, we focused on other dumb things. Oh, if only we could turn back time, we'd take advantage of every dime.
Act fast and take control of your financial future with Asset Preservation Wealth and Tax today. Welcome back to the Asset Preservation Hour. I'm Stewart Willis. Isn't that jingle catchy? I mean, look, when we made that commercial that just aired there, it did talk about a couple that said, hey, we've got the staycation plan because we didn't plan. They had the money, they had the income, but they have to go back to work because they didn't plan it right. Isn't it important, Nathan, to get it right the first time?
Yeah, someone's going to have poor health.
Yeah.
Someone's going to pass away.
Yeah.
Life's going to happen. And so, you want to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
And here's the thing, like you said, you know, we don't live in a vacuum here. I mean, life is going to happen. We're going to be taken for, you know, for crazy turns. I mean, God knows that, you know, my life wasn't easy, right? But somehow you got to fight through it, right? You got to figure it out, right? You can
Moving target.
right. I mean, if you use every, you know, negative thing in your life as an excuse not to perform, that isn't going to work either. Let's talk about this. Move on before you guys make me crazy here. The decumulation phase, the income phase. We talk about generally what people use is fixed income to make sure they have a more stable place to take it from. We've just seen an amazing short-term interest rate spike die on the vine. CDs were paying 5 and 6% over the last couple of years. Nathan, now it's gone. Now it's dead. What's the choice now?
Yeah, a lot of people have turned to some of these like fixed annuities or other types of annuities that have at least given you a higher interest. But what's interesting is a lot of these were purchased when interest rates were lower. And now that interest rates have gone higher, it gives you an opportunity now to look at, okay, can I actually earn more on some of these? Because you're not going to go buy a bond and get more interest. You're not going to get that from a CD necessarily.
Well, you know, bonds have always been the classic place to put your money, Jeff. That's the safe money. In the 60-40 portfolio, the 40% is bonds.
Right.
That worked for 35 years when interest rates were falling from the 80s until 2020. Now we're in this rising interest rate environment, and being in a position where you know you're going to lose money, or very likely to in a bond, that doesn't seem very smart, does it?
Yeah, I mean, look at the people that had bonds, big positions in bonds in 2022.
Smoked.
The safety position, yeah, they probably did worse than their equity side.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. And look, like Nathan started to say, a lot of people did move over to things like annuities, and some are good, some are bad. And look, if you bought an annuity 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe you're seeing no returns or very little returns at all, and you think something's going to change. The reality is it's not. If you're looking to improve those positions, here's the reality. We're in the highest interest rate environment in 17 years right now. You have the ability to refinance out of those old, terrible products into things that are much better now. And it's not because these insurance companies are generous. It's because rates are higher, right? When interest rates are low, you refinance your house. When interest rates are high, like they are right now, it's time to refinance your retirement. If you want to get a second opinion on how to do that, we're offering it to you absolutely free. All you have to do is give us a call at 833-602-PLAN. Hope you enjoyed the show this week. I enjoyed talking to you. Can't wait till next week. See you soon.